finally made it.
So this video is all about everything we've done in Maine, and we can't be more excited to finally make it.
It was one of those things where it's like you planned it out. You knew you were going to get there. You also had no mental capacity to like foresee it or anything. So we were just so excited to get here and get to kind of the final state on our outbound direction. And it's a state I've been to a lot of states, and I've never been to Maine. And every time we said where we're going, we said we're going to Maine, and it's like we're here. So we are just stoked to be here. Finally
made it. And
oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. And so much to say about Maine.
It is living up to everything everyone has told us.
Yeah, it truly
awesome.
is. Yeah, it's amazing and beautiful. Okay. So we've made a few stops in Maine, so it's important to kind of outline those stops. The first one being a Harvest Host, our first Harvest Host destination in Augusta, Maine.
So we stayed at an alpaca farm.
The alpaca farm. What was it called? Oh my gosh.
I'll put it in below, and Farmer Red was the coolest person.
He was so laid back.
So if you don't know about Harvest Host, this is not an ad by any stretch.
And we're not sponsored.
And we're not sponsored or anything, but it is definitely something you need to do. I will leave a link that you can sign up for below. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it's around $100 a year. And what they have is a list and a group, a collection, I guess, of private-owned businesses that allow RVers to come for a night or two and park on their site for free.
And basically, it's in return for service or donations.
They ask that you buy something from their shop or we've been
participate in some of the work. Because some of the locations are things like municipal airports, wineries, museums.
This was a farm.
Breweries. Like, there are lots of different things. There's are even pumpkin patches and
all
stuff.
Kinds of things. So well, it's a farm, yeah.
Right. So the exchange is, since they are offering their land and their property for you to stay on
for free.
It's kind of nice to give back in return. So if that's a donation to their store, or it's participating in some work effort, so like putting wine labels on wine bottles while you're at a wine. At a winery.
We've had the best stories from people, so we really wanted to try it out, and it was awesome.
It was awesome.
You know, our normal average is about $50 a night for some of these spots, so to stay somewhere for free for 2 nights and give a guy who's really nice, you know, shop in his store and a bottle of wine for less than that.
Yeah.
We got more out of it than we would have at campground. He got a lot out of it, so they were great. And I mean, we just had such a great time there.
Yeah. So we
got to play with alpacas.
The alpaca farm was amazing. And they had just had babies about 3 months prior to us being there. So the babies were still being bottle fed, some of them. So the kids got to do their feedings. And they were so excited.
And interesting thing about alpacas, they're very different than a llama. They look similar, but their demeanor is much more like a house cat. So they're very shy. And you can really only get close to them when they're interested.
Yeah, but they're very curious at the same time.
Yeah, so they're interested in who you are, like if you walk in, but at the same time, they will not let you go close to them. Unless you stand still and hold your hand out or have food, then they'll slowly kind of warm up. But even the farmer said they don't give him much attention. And they were just the cutest things.
Oh my gosh, and they're so soft.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark from so far away and show us where we are? What makes the sun go to sleep every night, and what's it dreaming of? I wonder. How come the sky sometimes hides behind the clouds? Maybe it's just like me, a little bit scared of heights. Why does the rain always keep on pouring down when it's gray outside? It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder.
Augusta, we were only there 2 days. We drove to Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor.
Oh.
And in Bar Harbor, which is amazing on its own, that is where Acadia National Park is.
Yeah.
And that was the
epitome.
No, it was like the holy grail of our trip.
Yes, that's
I
true.
mean, like, it was what we were seeking.
It was the destination.
It was. It really was. When we said we're going to Maine, we are going to Acadia National Park. And, boy, they say it's the gem of the Northeast.
Ooh.
And I'd have to agree with that.
Man, and so we were there before fall, I would say, actually. So everything was still pretty green. And it was awesome. Okay, so I guess a couple things that I was confused on was Bar Harbor is the city. Mount Desert is like the island and the place.
It's technically Mount Desert.
Mount Desert, but it's spelled like desert, whatever. So that's the place.
Yeah.
And then Acadia National Park is the name of the park. Yeah. So those are all almost synonyms, but they are slightly different things.
Because they're all basically in the same location.
Yeah. So if you're looking up where to go and how to stay there, that's kind of how those play. And so where we stayed was a KOA on the north side of kind of the island.
Yeah.
The park KOA is all over this island. But, so there were lots of different places to stay. I have to say I was really happy we stayed on the northern side because we had really good cell service still. The Wi-Fi was good. It was easy to get on and off island. I don't think we ever left.
And you really want to stay at the Bar Harbor KOA for really one reason.
Oh my gosh.
And that one reason is that in the park, they have a food truck that serves fresh lobster every day.
Every day.
You don't have to leave the KOA to get fresh lobster, and it's at the same price, if not somewhat cheaper than some of the local restaurants.
Such a problem.
And they served like the lobster dinner that Maine to be known for, as well as fresh lobster rolls daily.
Oh my gosh.
It was a problem.
This is so you go in because you don't know what you're expecting. So you go shopping. You've got like your 4 or 5 days of food. You're all stocked. And then you get there and they're like, oh, and right there is like our food truck. And you're like, okay, that's great. And then you go. The food is amazing at this food truck thing, like top notch. And we really planned to eat a couple nights out because we knew we really wanted the lobster there. We had saved up for that. So, but then you're like looking at your chicken sitting out on the counter right here, and you're like, but I could walk 100 yards that way
and get fresh lobster.
And I'm looking at chicken or some sort of cheeseburger, and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go get the lobster. Because
the lobster was caught in Bar Harbor.
It was caught that morning, typically.
Yeah.
And they picked it up at the market, and then they would come over and cook for whoever was there.
Yeah.
And they had pies, and it was a problem.
So good.
But that was great. And then we did the Acadia National Park a couple days.
Yep, and the kids did their Junior Ranger badges. So along with that, the Acadia National Park for the Junior Ranger badges was a little bit different than some of the parks that we had been to previously. So instead of just completing a booklet that most of them had, that they had done most of the time, they ended up having to go and experience the national park. So they had to attend
like ranger talks.
They had to attend, or they had to go visit museums, some of the local museums.
Did they have to do a hike too, or was that
that was a part of it. It was an option to do a hike, which we ended up doing anyway. But yeah, so it was very involved for the Junior Ranger program, and
it's all just so cool.
It was for the better. So the kids got to participate in a touch tank at a local museum. It was run by one of the local colleges on the island, and
we did touch tanks, hikes, a ranger-led, I don't have this on camera because it was at nighttime, but a ranger-led stargaze.
That's right, it was a stargaze on the beach.
So you sat on the sand beach. There was only one sand beach kind of on that area, so you sat on the sand beach and you listened to the guy talk about stars and moons and stuff, and that was awesome.
That was awesome.
I don't even...
I know. Oh, and we also went and did some tide pooling, too.
Tide pooling.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
that was just, you just walk out.
You just walk out.
Find somewhere to park in the city and then just walk out at low tide.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was so cool. And so from the touch tank, the kids learned a lot about the animals that live in tide pools. So then that was a really good educational experience for them. So then when we went to Bar Harbor at low tide, they knew
the tide pools.
what they were looking for in a tide pool, and they knew the different animals and could identify those animals within the tide pool.
And they found, I would say, like 30%.
They did,
We didn't go really far out, which is where I think some of the more exotic animals were. But
yeah, they found all like the
seen.
snails, and they found some crabs. They found actually a couple of different crabs.
Yeah.
And
lots of crab shells.
Lots of crab shells. And they found mussels, and they were on a hunt for a sea star, but again, I don't think we were going to be able to in the spot that we were at. So yeah, Bar Harbor was amazing. I was really sad to leave Bar Harbor. Made it to Maine.
Took some time, but we pointed out that tomorrow isn't here right now, baby. An absent mind came to roam around. Captured you in a foggy cloud, baby. Standing on my toes on the edge, I'm ready to go. I see it clear when the shadows are lit, I'm ready to go. Captured you in a foggy cloud, baby. Standing on my toes on the edge, I'm ready to go. I see it clear when the shadows are lit, I'm ready to go.
Okay, so after Bar Harbor, we actually didn't go too far. We had a bit of a strange trip next. I had a work meeting that was pretty important, and so the kids and Kristen decided to come along. So we drove back to Bangor, Maine, hopped on a plane out of the Bangor airport, and flew to D.C., where my office is. And, that trip was rough. It didn't go well. Our hotel reservation was messed up, and so we had to book reservations kind of like as we're walking down the street trying to find a hotel. It wasn't great. It was also 1,000,000 degrees in DC.
Especially compared to coming from Maine when we were in sweaters and jackets every night. So it was like pulling our summer clothes back out just for this trip.
Yeah, and so we had a great time and we saw a lot of fun people. Like, I'm very happy we did it, but also I think coming from Maine and our own home, traveling, and flying on an airplane with none of our stuff, and the hotel being messed up, it was rough. So it happens to us too. Traveling didn't go very well. We were only there for like 4 or 5 days, but it felt like a year.
It did.
And then we came back.
But we did get a lot of stuff done. Kind of your more touristy DC kind of things, all the monuments and the museums.
And that's where you guys went. We did all the Smithsonian's. We did quite a bit of the mall. A lot of the big key memorials we saw. Mm-hmm. A family on top of that, and then just some exploration.
And it was a good trip in the end. It really was. I mean, so don't knock it all the way.
No, it just wasn't like the trip we had planned, and so it was just a struggle.
Sometimes you just kind of have to go with the flow, and that's exactly what we had to do.
Yeah, but we'll talk about more about DC when we actually go to DC. Mm-hmm. So after Bangor, Maine, we came back. Everything was fine. We then went to, I guess it wasn't Portland, was it? It was
just outside of Portland.
What was it called?
We were right near Old Orchard Beach.
Old Orchard Beach.
And going into Portland, this area, you know, all we were focused on was the LL Bean store.
To keep it nice and clean, not freak out and cause a scene. I try to hold it together, keep it together. Not sure who I really am, just be cute and super bland. I try to hold it together, keep it together. Been playing it down, but I'm so getting tired. Now won't you meet high? 'Cause I've been feeling that crazy, and I need to lose control. So baby, put the record on, baby, put the record on, hit it. And I've been needing that crazy, and I gotta let it go. So baby, put the record on, I'm not gonna need that song, hit it.
We don't know anything about Maine in general. So, I mean, like, we're Googling things, and we were like, okay, fun, a nice campsite. It says family.
It actually was a great.
We camped. Our spot was right next to the playground, so you just like bye kids, and then go run at the playground. And then it was pretty close to LL Bean, which that campus is also awesome,
amazing. Yeah.
And then, but then it was close to all our normal stores, and it was really close to the beach.
Yeah. So Old Orchard Beach is like the Jersey Shore of Maine.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I would say that. There's a big pier, there's a big boardwalk, lots of restaurants and stuff. Yeah. And we had no idea.
No, I mean, I just found it on Google. I'm like, oh, here's a good place to stay. It's out of season. It's cheap. Let's stay there. And it was awesome.
It was really cool. We ended up doing a picnic on the beach. The kids played in the water.
We found out that our dog, Jessie, thinks the beach is the best place on the planet.
The beach. She loves the beach.
Loves it. I mean, just goes into like this crazy bat mode every time she sees one. So it was a great time in Maine. We were desperately not wanting to leave.
We didn't want to leave.
But we also knew that like our end result out of the whole year planning is we have a Disney trip in December, so we have to make it to Florida. And I did the math, and I was like, wait, we got to stay focused going down. We also were about to go see some family, which is the next plan. So we're really excited about going to see a lot of family, actually, the next couple of weeks. So we have a lot of fun stuff, but man, we were not ready to leave, and we will definitely be back.
Yeah, definitely be back. There's a lot that we didn't get done.
No.
Because, like in every state, you know, there's always more to do.
Yeah.
And Maine.
All right. Well, thank you for sticking with us for this long video. But like I said, it was so much fun in Maine. It just took us so long to get there. We're really excited about our next step. We're going through some of the smaller states in the Northeast. And like I said, a lot of families about to come in. So we will see you guys soon. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.